Let's go back to the 1970s. Picture a group of French scientists in white coats, somewhere in a laboratory, carefully examining samples of uranium ore imported from a mine in Gabon, West Africa. At first, it's just another routine analysis, but then one of the researchers notices something odd. There's less uranium-235 in the sample than there should be, and not just a little less. For most people, that would mean nothing. For a physicist, it's like coming home and finding your fridge empty when you're sure you left food in there. Something, or someone, has used up the good stuff. See, uranium-235 is the isotope that keeps nuclear reactors running. In nature, its amount is always almost the same, unless something has used it up. The French scientists check their numbers, then check them again. Maybe there's a mistake, maybe someone contaminated the sample or swapped it by accident, or maybe, just maybe, there's a much bigger story. The scientists look at other samples, they look at the mine itself, and everywhere they find the same thing. Uranium-235 is missing, and in its place, there are traces of elements you only get after nuclear fission. Xenon, neodymium, and others you'd usually expect to find in a spent fuel rod from a power plant. Someone, or something, had been running a nuclear reactor, and they'd done it about 1.7 billion years before the first person ever split an atom. At this point, things get weird even for a group of physicists. The media catches wind of it. Headlines appear about ancient nuclear reactors in Africa. Theories start flying, secret government programs, lost civilizations, maybe even aliens on vacation. But the truth, as is often the case, is stranger and much more down to earth. Because what happened at Oklo wasn't the work of humans, or anyone else for that matter. It was the result of geology, chemistry, a little bit of physics, and a healthy dose of luck. The uranium deposits under Oklo just happened to form in the right place, at the right time, with the right conditions. 2 billion years ago, the world looked nothing like it does now. No forests, no animals, no birds or bugs, just slime, water, rocks, and a very different atmosphere. The continents were shuffled around. Oxygen was still something new, and uranium-235 was a lot more common than it is today. Back then, the natural uranium ore had about 3 times more uranium-235 than it does now. Perfect conditions for nuclear fission, if you're into that sort of thing. And deep underground in what is now Gabon, water was seeping through veins of uranium ore, slowing down neutrons and making it possible for a chain reaction to start, all on its own. The reactor at Oklo wasn't some big machine with turbines and control panels. It was just a part of the Earth where everything lined up perfectly. Enough uranium, the right amount of water, and just the right geologic setup. When enough water flowed through, the reaction would start. When things heated up and water boiled away, the reaction would stop. On, off, for hundreds of thousands of years, like a patient heart beating beneath the crust, unfazed by the future antics of hairless apes. There were at least 16 separate spots in Oklo where these natural reactions took place. Each one turned on and off, cycling over and over, burning for the thousands and thousands of years at a time. No one noticed, of course. Not a soul on the planet was even looking. And when the reactions were done, what was left behind? The same sort of waste we worry about today in modern reactors. Radioactive isotopes, strange elements, and leftover uranium sealed away in ancient rock. But unlike our efforts for long-term storage, which involve a lot of meetings, concrete, and anxiety, Oklo managed to keep its nuclear waste tucked away and mostly immobile for 1 billion years. No leaks, no drama, just geology doing its thing. Scientists study Oklo as a sort of time capsule, naturally occurring laboratory for understanding what happens to radioactive materials over unimaginable timescales. It turns out nature is pretty good at this whole waste containment business, given enough time and pressure. Some engineers have even taken notes from Oklo for designing our own nuclear waste repositories. Oklo also taught us a thing or two about the stability of physical laws. By examining the leftover isotopes, scientists can check if the laws of physics, things like the strength of the nuclear force, have changed over billions of years. Spoiler, so far everything seems steady. The universe is reliable, if nothing else. Of course, the discovery of this weird's bound to attract more than just physicists. Pretty soon, people started asking if Oklo might be evidence of ancient aliens, time travelers, or a lost civilization with access to atomic power. It's a tempting thought. Who doesn't want a little cosmic mystery in their science? But the real story is actually more impressive. This was an accident, the cosmic coincidence, a set of conditions that will never repeat themselves. And the planet was running a billion-year-long physics experiment while no one was watching. Oklo's legacy is as much about the mystery as the facts. Even now, decades after its discovery, scientists still make pilgrimages to Gabon, chipping away at the ancient rocks, measuring isotopes, trying to squeeze a few more secrets from the Earth. Some dream of finding another Oklo somewhere else, maybe deep under the ocean or on another planet. But so far, Oklo stands alone. The story has also made its way into popular culture. Podcasts, documentaries, books, internet forums full of wild speculation. In a way, Oklo is a perfect metaphor for the universe itself. Weird, patient, and always a step ahead of our expectations. So, next time you hear someone talking about nuclear reactors or the dangers of radioactive waste, remember, Earth did it first, quietly, efficiently, and without any fanfare. Billions of years before we built our first atomic pile, the planet had already run its own experiment and cleaned up after itself. Maybe that's the biggest lesson from Oklo. Sometimes the most advanced technology is just a happy accident. Sometimes the biggest mysteries are right under our feet, waiting for us to dig deep enough to notice. Sometimes, if we're really lucky, nature lets us peek behind the curtain and see just how strange and wonderful our world can be. Who knows, maybe somewhere out there, another Oklo is taking away, running a secret experiment in a corner of the universe, waiting for someone curious enough to find it. Or maybe it's already right here, just humming quietly, patient as ever.